Let's talk customer loyalty today, including why some of these big brands really do not understand how customer loyalty should work. And more importantly, if you as a small business owner, if you're not getting it yourself, you're going to leave some money on the table. Hey, my name is Blake Benz. I'm the host of the Good Advice Podcast, and you've tuned into the right place to learn how to do business better. There's no fluff on the podcast, just good advice on what actually works in business today. Before we jump into today's podcast episode, if you're new to the show, you can always check out our Patreon if you want to support the podcast, patreon.com/goodadvice. And also, we do have a quick ad coming up here in a sec from one of the businesses who sponsors the podcast. Check out this quick ad, and we'll be back soon. Do you ever feel like your payment processor is robbing you blind? For some of us, it's not blind. We look at the amount of money that's going to our payment processor month after month, and a lot of times we ask ourselves, is there a better way? I'm making good money, yet so much of it isn't actually ending up in my pocket. In the world of payment processing, in many cases, it's a cashless world, so you have to have a payment processor you can really trust. I personally am a big fan of Brad Norwood, who's the owner of PrimePaymentsUSA.com. Brad's a business owner himself. He knows all the challenges that come with running a business. More importantly, he knows the value of an individual customer. See, some of these bigger businesses, they're all about scale. They're all about bringing in as many customers as possible. But do they know your name? Do they know your business? Do they know what's important to you? In many cases, the answer is no. And in worst cases, they're just looking to get as much money from every transaction that you work hard for, which really doesn't feel too good. So you got to reach out to Brad Norwood today and understand how he's doing business and why it can save you money month after month. More importantly, you might even ask him about his zero-fee payment processing that he's offering to a select few of people. Go to PrimePaymentsUSA.com and start putting the money that you worked hard for back into your pocket. So I got to the point of no return this last week. Well, I'll give you a little heads up on the story of what happened, and then I'll talk a little bit about some stuff that's happened in the past. I had kind of gotten to my wit's end on dealing with Verizon. I could never get the service to work. I didn't have service at my own house. I live in town. I'm like, what's going on here? And just the bills didn't make sense to me. I just didn't get it. It just never made any sense to me. So I'm making some small talk with my father-in-law about it. And he's like, hey, well, we have like this big family plan. Do you want to just jump on our family plan? And I was like, well, how much is it? And he was like, it's $30 a month. Cause my wife's family, she has 6 siblings. And anyway, he was like, yeah, it's like a $30 a month plan. And I was like, if you don't care, he was like, I don't care at all. If you want to jump on it, jump on it. So I was like, all right, cool. Currently, I pay over $100 a month for my Verizon phone. Not to mention that I have spent $1,000, I guess, on a new smartphone with them. And so, I've spent some money with them. At this point, I've been a Verizon member for years. It's been thousands of dollars. And, it's just, I don't know. I liked my AT&T plan for a while because I had unlimited back when unlimited was actually a thing. And then they said that when unlimited went away that you would keep your unlimited. And then, funny enough, there came a day where it was no longer unlimited. And I guess, in today's world, that's a bit of a rarity for there to be unlimited out there. Long story short, ended up at Verizon. And, I don't know. I haven't been blown away by Verizon. Another thing kind of drives me crazy without me going off on some random tangents about my not great experience with Verizon. Anytime there's a software update, there's a bunch of apps on my phone, like different games like Candy Crush. It's not Candy Crush, but things like that. An update happens overnight, and then suddenly I have 6 or 7 apps on my phone, which the way this all works is these apps have a deal with Verizon. They have a bundle with Verizon where when an update goes out, it installs it. This bloatware is very obnoxious to me as a business owner and as a just person in general. I'm just like, what's the deal? Why do I have this stuff on my phone? I don't get it. Anyway, you can tell that I'm feeling it a little bit today. So All this to say, I've spent thousands with Verizon. My father-in-law says, hey, if you want to jump on our T-Mobile, feel free. And I'm like, sweet, $30 a month. Let's do it. I'm happy to do that. So I make the swap and I get this message. I have to port my number over and I send, the port number request. It's all automated. I do it on Verizon at like 11:02 p.m. on a Saturday night. Well, here's the email I get. Just after that, about 30 minutes after that, I get this email. Let's see here. So this email comes in 11:34 p.m. on a Saturday night. Again, about half an hour after I've done the request to port my service and leave Verizon. I get this email. Great news. You're eligible for a monthly discount on your Verizon account. Enjoy a $10 a month discount for every phone line you have for a year. And the actual content of the email goes on to say, we're so glad to have you as part of the Verizon family. You're a valued customer and you're now eligible to receive $10 a month off each active phone line for the next 12 months. That's a savings of $120 per line for the year. Take advantage of it, blah, blah, blah. This is our way of saying thanks for being a loyal customer. Thank you for choosing Verizon. And I'm kind of like, come on, guys. You got their automated request that I was leaving. Your system obviously flagged it and auto sent out this email. And I get it. At a certain point, you probably get so large. Like, I don't think there's anyone actually sweating at Verizon because random dude is leaving their company. I don't think there's anyone who actually gives a flip. And to their credit, if someone's quitting, you may as well throw $10, $10 a month at them to see if you can get them to stay. I get it. I don't think it's necessarily a bad idea. My problem though is all of the language is so disingenuous. You're a valued customer. This is our way of saying thank you. We want to appreciate your loyalty. And I find myself thinking like, well, what about all these years and the thousands of dollars I've spent? Why didn't I qualify for a discount for paying on time for several years? Why didn't I get, what I'm saying? Like, why didn't I get a discount for that? Why didn't I get any kind of special hey, and here's the things I'm about to say are going to sound like absolute shenanigans because corporations, there's no way this would ever functionally work for millions of people. But like, imagine if one of these companies sent out, hey, you've been a member for 5 years and you've always paid on time. This month's on us. Enjoy your phone bill for free. Again, total shenanigans of an idea. These are the kind of things that's like, this would never happen. But like, why not? Like, why aren't they more intentional about appreciating their customers? I don't get it. I don't understand it. I do understand it. And all of you, the listeners, we understand it. These are publicly traded companies that, it's all about up and to the right in terms of revenue, increasing profits at any means necessary. So to give a customer a free month is insanity. It's not a easily chartable ROI type of action. But I want to tell you something. You as a small business owner, you're playing a different game. You are playing a different game as a small business owner, and you cannot get away with corporate style customer shenanigans. I guess that's the buzzword for today. Corporations today are insanely stupid when it comes to understanding how people buy today, decisions they make, and corporations in general have a very difficult time understanding the value of things that are not directly ROI-able. It's why many corporations have such a difficult time with concepts like brand. When we talk about your brand, this is not something that is, you don't write this down on a piece of paper and say, this is my brand. Brand is a little bit of this amorphous, always shifting thing, yet it's not hard for us to point at it and explain it or give an example of it. And you talk about Coca-Cola and the polar bears and buy a world of Coke and, all the advertising they do. We can point to the Coke brand and describe it and see, okay, here's a company that's actually doing a good job with their brand. I haven't followed Coke. We cut soda years ago. We cut soda years ago. So I mean, hopefully I didn't just like out myself for being out of the loop if, everyone hates Coke today. But we can all point to when brand is working. But when you get into a room of executives and decisions are getting made around cost and price and ROI, people like very clear, direct numbers. It is why something like customer loyalty is so difficult for large corporations, because it is hard to understand, or rather draw a straight line between things you do for your customers and the ROI for you. And worse, often, sometimes the ROI is not actually dollars in your pocket. And when you are a large scale company, it is hard for those decision makers to understand anything that does not have an assigned dollar value next to it. It's also why so many companies have such a hard time with valuing their employees, with showing appreciation to their employees. If I buy my employees lunch, does that make them more productive? Yes. Can I write down a dollar number that shows me how much more productive they will be? No. There isn't. I'm not going to produce, 18 more dollars per minute because you bought me pizza. And so what a lot of corporations do is they are comfortable ignoring these things because there is not a direct dollar value with it. Again, you as a small business owner cannot afford to operate this way, because unlike large corporations, you don't have the cash flow and the cash reserves and the national equity and people who engage with your brand and see it. You don't have massive marketing campaigns. You're not spending hundreds of thousands or even billions of dollars to operate an international company. You're you. And you have maybe yourself, maybe you have a small team, maybe you're a bit of a larger small business. You have 200 employees. The game's still not that much different for you. The fact of the matter is this: your customers matter more than anything else. So the question becomes, how do you value them? This is really no different, by the way, with what Verizon is. This has been like a corporate thing for years. I remember, 20 years ago being in college, maybe this was right after college, we had this thing with Comcast, with TV service, where basically what would happen is we would do, whatever rate we had with Comcast would last for, I think, 18 months, or maybe it was 12 months. I can't remember how long it was. But what you would do is at the end of that 12 months, you would call and cancel. You'd say, I'm canceling. And they would say, well, what if I gave you a, special discount? And then you'd be like, oh, okay, I'll stay. And then they'd give you a discount for the next year. And then when the next year came to an end, you'd call it, hey, I'm canceling. They'd say, hey, well, we can continue that discount. Like, oh, okay, well, great. And it was kind of I guess in my mind, it was like college life hack. I don't think it's really that interesting now in retrospect. Not really that clever. And then I think there was a point that I think of it that I called, and I think I had done this for like 3 years straight, and they didn't offer. And I was like, do you have any discounts or anything? And they were like, no, we don't. And I was like, okay, well, I guess I really am quitting Comcast then. And I did. I never went back. In fact, today I don't even have cable. So, this is not a new concept that corporations will do something like this, but again, as a small business owner, you can't afford to operate that way. So let's talk about this in a different light or in a different, like, what does this actually mean for you? You, as a small business owner, you have to appreciate your customers. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to name off some very simple things you can do. And then I'm going to move on to more expensive things you can do. And at the end of these next few minutes, the bottom line is you have to do something. You have to do something because when we talk about ROI as a small business owner, it can take a Herculean effort to get a new customer. Sometimes it's not. Sometimes you acquire customers relatively easily. But what I've learned is that many business owners don't understand the value of the repeat customer. And I won't get into it today because I've talked about it 10 million times on the podcast, but look up Kevin Kelly's 1000 True Fans. It's this Technicum article. And the basic premise of it is to run $1 million plus business. You don't need millions of customers. You just need 1,000 true fans, people who buy from you again and again because they understand the value that you provide. And there is brand trust there with you that they want to be part of. So simple things you can do is, first of all, saying thank you. And here's the deal. This podcast has never been anything earth-shattering, but the podcast has been big on things that are obvious, and yet so many people do not do them. So telling you, be grateful to your customers, show gratitude to your customers. This is not a new concept. You've heard this 10,000 times, yet few people actually do it. So one thing I do with my customers, anytime there's a new customer, they get a 30-second, 60-second video from me. Hey, this is Blake. Thanks so much for doing business with me. I so appreciate it. You could have bought from anybody. You bought from me. Hey, thank you. It's low time intensive. It doesn't take 10,000 years. It doesn't take forever. It's literally a quick thing you can do. Other customers get a thank you note in the mail. They get a card from me. Many customers get a small gift from me. I might send over like a coffee tumbler, like a Yeti tumbler, and sometimes I'll go the extra mile and have it branded by their company name. Or maybe I'll send them a book that I really like that I think they'll appreciate. Other times it is small gifts, like if they're a fan of a certain football team, I'll send them like a hat from that football team. I mean, just very simple things that I know they care about and are very easy. I mean, I had one company that I got I bought some really nice golf balls for them. I mean, just simple things, right? And what you do is you give these things to your customers and you say, thank you for doing business with me. Now, where some people get this wrong is they are entirely too sneaky about it. So the contract is ending in June, on June 1st, and on May 31st, you drop this gift off of there. Hey, I got you this awesome gift. Oh, wait, our contract is, oh yeah, that's tomorrow, isn't it? Hey, well, these are some really nice golf balls, right? Like, don't you love doing like people today have such great BS meters that I think if people are doing that as the norm, there's a reason why you're not seeing an ROI on it, because you are too sneaky about it and we can all see what you're doing and it's disingenuous, you know? And today there's so much just disingenuous BS that comes through LinkedIn messages or emails or what have you. You know, it's like, I'll talk about this on another podcast episode, but I had the email that I talked about on social media came in that it was titled, "My sister mentioned good advice." And the person said, "Hey, I was talking to my sister and they said that they talked about you." And I thought, "Oh, I need to reach out immediately. Can I buy you a cup of coffee?" And I'm like, "No, you didn't. This did not happen. Come on, man." And so I didn't go from like neutral or cool to you. Now I've gone to actively disinterested in doing business with you. So when you are sneaky about this, you, in today's sales world, you will do more harm against your brand because people will not want to work with you. Okay. So thank you cards, simple thank yous. Again, it doesn't have to cost you anything. It's about intentionality. And I look for many opportunities to do this whenever I can. Just this last week, I voice memoed one of my customers. I said, "Hey man, just wanted to tell you thank you. Thanks for doing business with me. Man, thank you." And this person had spent, man, $5,000-$6,000. And I said, "I just want to tell you," and like our work together was pretty much long over. But I was just like, "Hey, I just want to tell you thank you." Thanks for doing that. I mean, and there's like another conversation to be had here about like the way you say thank you, by the way. Like, and this is kind of a weirder conversation because I don't really get too much into like the psychic, that's not the right word, the mental side of business. Like, you don't want to be desperate in your thank you. I'm like, hey, no one took a chance on me, but you did. And no one was doing business with me, but you were crazy enough to do it with me. And I kept telling my wife that, this person's nuts for trusting me. And yet you did. And even though every red flag told you, and even though I got arrested for fraud and I thought no one was going to trust me again, you still did. But, I mean, come on, like you gotta, you gotta think about how you say thank you. And so, what I'm feeling in my heart whenever I send like a voice memo or like a letter like this is what I'm feeling is like, man, I'm just so appreciative. I just really appreciate it. The way I say it though is it's that, but I do have a little bit of an extra step there of just like not sounding like, you know, hey, thank you. I have no idea why you did. Like the person saw value in it. Like I'm not gonna, and this is why I call this like kind of a weird thing to talk about because I haven't like fully thought it out in my mind. But like whenever you say thank you want to say thank you while still maintaining that it was a good investment. And that's not like to cover your bases. It's because that just needs to be true about the way you sell. That's unrelated to gratitude. It's yes, you should do business with me. Yes, it is a good investment. Yes, I am going to deliver on what I said I'm going. Like understanding and believing those things are just core elements to your business. And if you find yourself not believing those things, you really got to get out of the way and let someone else sell what you're selling because you're not going to win long term. So you already you believe all those things. And so when I say thank you to a customer, I'm not saying, man, I have no idea why you did this and I can't believe it. And wow, I'm so great. No, it's, hey man, I'm really glad we did business together. Hey man, I really appreciated our partnership. Hey man, I really appreciated, us having the opportunity to do work together, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So I'll send out voice memos like that. I'll send thank you notes out like that. I texted a customer the other day and I said, "Hey, send me your address. I have a gift to give you." No, and this one I'd done business with this person for a long time, so I didn't need to be like no strings attached. But I said, "Hey, I have a gift to send you. Just a small thank you for doing business with me." And then I had another customer who a friend of a friend connected me with his like cigar vendor or something because this guy like really likes cigars, and so I'm gonna get him a box of cigars. Like, and that's like when things can start to get a little bit pricier, and that's where you also want to be a little bit strategic with your customers as well. You don't want to spend like $600 on a customer who has spent like $40 with you. It's nonsensical. It doesn't make any sense, and it's just not sustainable. It's not. I'd say by all means, if someone like was the best customer you've ever had in your entire life, I think it's totally fine to spend money on a gift that, you'll never see an ROI with it just out of gratitude. I think that's fine. You just can't do it for every customer because again, it's not sustainable. So like the customer box of cigars, it's like I don't know how much, $150 investment. This customer has spent like $19,000. So like for me, it's just cost of doing business. It's like this person spent this much money. I mean, I gotta give them something. I want to give them something. I don't want to send them like a bar of chocolate. I want to actually get them something nice. Or I have another customer who spent several $1,000s on advertising on the podcast. Was a big sports fan, baseball fan. So I got a Hall of Fame memorabilia jersey that I sent to him, which at the time I was really jacked about. I was like, this is awesome. But now it's been a while. And so I'm thinking about what's the next thing? What's the next thing that I can do to show this customer appreciation? And so I think that's the other thing too is, business is all relationship oriented. And so it's not about checking the box. Dude, I had this boss one time who, I'm a little hesitant to tell the story because I don't want to characterize this person in a really negative light, but great, really was a great boss and someone I really enjoyed working for. But I remember spending time with this boss, and as we were wrapping up our time together, he had like a piece of paper with my name on it, and he had all the employees on this paper, And he didn't literally check. I think he scratched the name out, or I can't remember what he did. And he said something that was like, all right, we got our time in, and he had some other names on there that he had already scratched out and stuff. And basically this guy was, making sure now on one side of it, you have bosses who never do anything, right? You never hear from your boss. So this is why I'm a little hesitant to tell the story, because this is not the way the story kind of sounds, is that this person was couldn't be bothered to spend time with the team. Not the case. And if nothing else, he had the piece of paper to really make sure that he spent time with the people, with his employees. But that was probably something not to show to the team member. That was probably something to be, to keep behind closed doors. But I don't want to show that part. But sending the gift is not about checking the box. Hey, so we're good now, right? For the next year. That's not how it is. You want to always be thinking of, how do I show my customers I appreciate them, I'm grateful for them, I'm glad they did business with me. There's plenty of other places they could have done business. They chose me. And I think just having, beyond any of this, just having a spirit of gratitude and appreciation. And I kind of think of it as I'm going to kind of say two things here that are a little bit opposites. Not taking myself too seriously, where it's well, of course you did business with me, I'm the best. I don't know. For me, it's just and I don't want to sound casual about it, but I'm just yeah, this person could have spent their money anywhere. They spent it with me. They could have literally spent their money anywhere, and they spent it with me. So, hey, I'm appreciative of that. Hey, I'm really grateful for that. And then on the flip side, this is why I say these kind of opposites. I want them to spend money with me, because I do think I'm the best option. They should spend money with me. I am the best option. So I think both are true in that they should spend money on me, but I also want to still, because they made the decision to spend money on me, I want to be grateful of that, because despite how experienced I think I am, it's still their decision. So anywho, so don't be a Verizon, Comcast shenanigan doer, last minute discount. Oh, please keep working with me kind of business owner. Get out in front of it. Show your customers gratitude. Show them that you appreciate them. And wildly enough, they will keep doing business with you. Hey, that's today's Good Advice podcast episode. I so appreciate you tuning into the show today. If you're a first-time listener, what are you waiting on? Click the subscribe or follow button. Keep getting good advice wherever you are. Don't forget, we have a Patreon, patreon.com/goodadvice. If you want to support the podcast. And all that to say, that's today's Good Advice. We'll see you later. Take care.